Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. I think people might be able to hear us. And we will turn our camera on in just a moment.
Some quick drone footage, I think left over from our talk on marina costs last month. Hey, boat pictures are always pretty.
And drone pictures are always pretty.
Yes.
Sorry I didn't get a chance to put anything new together for this. And Joe is there. Joe's the moderator.
Thank you so much for being here, Joe. Maybe turn on the camera?
Okay. I guess I will switch to previews. As soon as we see the dolphins, we'll switch.
Oh, okay. You're going to wait for dolphins.
Yes.
Gotta wait for dolphins.
Yes. See if you can spot the dolphins.
This one's Marine Land when we're coming down the ICW. Oh, see, we even have a title for it. I don't have to say that.
Yes.
But you're about to see dolphins.
They are on the left. You can see them in the big pool. Little gray dots moving out. There's one just jumped. I saw it. More dolphins. There's the dolphins. Okay.
Okay. We've seen the dolphins.
Okay. Hey, and there's an us. Howdy.
Good evening, everybody.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Cherie.
And we still have our names backwards.
We will fix that one day. Or we'll swap places.
Yes. And, hopefully this doesn't cause a quick glitch, but just make sure.
Oh, we're on the 8800.
Yes, I'm switching back. Shouldn't be a problem, but.
Yeah.
I was broadcasting tested out on AT&T. The Verizon 8800 is a little droppy, so.
Little droppy? Goodness. Anyway, we're Technomadia if you're joining in. We have been full-time nomads since 2006, both by RV and now boat for the last 2 years. We mix it up, usually, kind of. That's the intention anyway.
And yeah.
Right at this very moment.
Yeah, this exact very moment.
We plan like 12.5A would have had us out in Arizona at the Escapers Annual Bash.
This is something we've been planning
since last
July. Basically since the date was locked in since July, even though we didn't first publicly disclose it, that we are going to the annual bash, and the Escapees wanted us to present, and we were kind of excited because for those who don't know about the Escapers and the annual bash, it's kind of our baby.
We helped found the Escapers. We helped Travis and Mel come up with the concept, and the idea of a convergence came from some of our own experiences on the road of hosting more casual gatherings of RVers.
And their very first annual bash, before we were even calling it an annual bash, was us going out and staking out the spot in the desert and saying, this is it, come here, we're going to do this thing.
So we really wanted to go. We had not been out to an Escapers event since, I think the last one was in 2016 when we started the boat hunt. And we really wanted to get back to another event because the Escapers has grown leaps and bounds. I think there's now over 10,000 members. Oh my gosh. And at the annual bash right now, there are over 500 people. They actually had to cap attendance for the first time ever.
Well, and today is Community Day, which means it's open to people who didn't have official tickets and official camping. So who knows how many people are there today. Although apparently the weather might have kept some of the Community Day activities away. But yeah, this was going to be a big deal. And right at this moment was the originally scheduled time that we would have been presenting and talking and sharing there. But we're not.
On mobile internet. And but the RV Geeks, our friends Peter and John, they were actually already in Arizona, and it just worked out perfectly for them to take our spot. They are presenting on lithium batteries right now, which was a presentation that they had just done the night before for their Patreon. So they had the content ready to go. So they're able to take our spot, and it's perfect. The attendees are still getting awesome presenters, awesome information, and hopefully we're not too missed.
Right. And so how did this plans take such a big 90-degree turn, and why aren't we there? And
you saw, if you've been following along, you've probably already seen we decided to stay on the boat this winter because we're in an amazing spot in Central Florida. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of boat projects going on. We decided to catch up on doctor's visits and all that other stuff that nomads have to make time for.
Yes, but we still, when we kind of had that plan shift. That was kind of back in October and early November. We're like, well, okay, so maybe we're not going to go take our bus out of storage, but instead, hey, we'll rent an RV. And we actually, bought plane tickets and had the rental book, and we're still going to do this annual bash thing, and it's all going to work out. We're just going to fly out there instead of drive out there.
Oh, then, you know what? Right after Christmas, it just started to feel like too much. Number one, I just started to come down with crud.
And good thing, because it took, basically, we're just now over it. So the past 2 weeks.
3 weeks for me.
3 weeks,
Thanks very much. So I was already starting to feel horrible physically. And I just knew that it was going to take a while to rebound. We had boat projects in progress. We actually just had the last contractor leave this morning. So, I mean, it would have been super stressful trying to wrap these projects up because that just...
And then hop on an airplane.
Then, yeah.
And then instead of having, part of what we love about RVing is we travel with our house and we have all our stuff and we love our little fortress. We love our bus. And we're like, okay, well, we're going to be doing this in a rental RV, kind of kamikaze style, in and out. We're not going to even have our bar for the margarita throwdown, all our spices to compete in the guacamole, rock the guac night. We don't
even know what dishes and pots and pans we'd have in this little 24-foot RV. We're going to be boondocking the whole time out there at the Escapers Annual Bash in our rental. So we wouldn't be comfortable. It wouldn't be our home. It wouldn't be that retreat that we would need as introverts to survive such a big event.
So it's just starting processing. It's like, hey, maybe. So, okay, well, the tickets are non-refundable, but really, what does that mean? It's like,
okay, so it's going to cost us. We already had $1,500 in airfare paid for and a deposit on the rental RV, and the final payment was coming due for the rental RV. Plus, there was going to be a hotel night we still needed to book on the way in Vegas. We would have needed provision.
Would have needed show tickets, of course. If you're going through Vegas, you got to see at least one cirque.
And then the other thing that hit me is like, oh my gosh, it's going to be cold there, and we're planning to travel out with backpacks, and we don't have our winter wardrobe on the boat, so it's all on the bus because we intended to spend winter on the bus, and we don't need much of it here in Florida. And it's gonna be cold.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we have to go buy winter clothes to even go to this thing. So it's like, okay, we either lose $1,500, or the way we looked at it was, wait a minute, we have at least another $1,500 to spend to get there, and what for? What is the benefit of us going out there? Yes, we could connect with a lot of people.
It will be awesome. And we know we would have had an amazing time. Mm-hmm. It probably would have left us very drained, but we would have had an absolutely amazing time. But we could have... We don't need to do this. It's not something that you can force and push yourself to do. And that's kind of what we want to talk about tonight is...
So there's a common phrase that we hear going around, and that's FOMO, the fear of missing out. And that's that feeling that you get when you watch a YouTube video of someone being in a great location. Yeah. You see on Instagram people in amazing locations going to amazing events, and you wish you were there. You've got this fear that, if I don't get there, I'm going to miss out on this event and that event. And
it kind of gets you into this mode of driving. It's like, I got to be there at the big thing where all the people are going to be, and I got to be at this next one. I got to be at this next one. And so you're either feeling like you're racing to catch up, or you're feeling left out. And those are not good feelings, either one of them.
So as I was posting on the Escapers Annual Bash Facebook group announcing and giving our apologies for not being there, and giving out free copies of our book to people to hopefully make up for it, I said, and we're going to have serious FOMO about not being there as we see your guys' post. And then Chris interjects in.
So there's this opposite concept, which I've run across a couple times, called JOMO. It's the joy of missing out. It's the kind of recognizing that you can't do it all, and knowing that there's other people at an event that you could have been at who are having the time of their lives, and you're going to be joyful that you're not there. It's kind of... You're happy for them, and you're happy recognizing that you can't do it all, and you're not going to push yourself too hard.
And when he replied with that, I was like, that's it.
JOMO.
That's the emotion that we're really feeling is we know we could be there. We could push ourselves and be there, and it would take us months of recovery. That's what it took last year when we did the RV Entrepreneur Summit. No, what I'm feeling is this relief of not having the pressure to push myself.
The joy of missing out.
Now... Okay, we're dealing with midges here. That's not necessarily joyful. But we are in a wonderful location. We're getting to meet awesome people that are traveling in Florida. We're getting to connect and make amazing friends here. We're getting caught up in a lot of projects. We're making some great upgrades to the boat. We're going to focus on the joy that we're going to get by not having this commitment.
And the annual bash is going to be absolutely awesome, even if we're not there. And we are, you know, we know people are having an incredible time. We're hearing about it, and we're happy for that. We're like, it just because we were so excited to go doesn't mean we have to do it. We will get there one day.
And we can be compersive for our friends who are there, connecting with each other. And yes, I do miss them. I do wish we could be there. I wish, you know, in an ideal world, transporters would exist, and it would just take us a couple seconds to get over there.
Yeah, if a transporter existed, we could beam our entire boat there. How cool would that be? Actually, based on how much flooding they're having today.
Yeah, apparently they had some massive rainstorms today, and they showed some pictures of rivers running through the campground. So our boat probably could have been fine just there. But yes, we can both miss and know that we're missing out on an awesome opportunity, and be joyful that we're doing what we need to do to take care of ourselves and be our best selves to serve our community. And we're also in a major business change. We're redoing our entire website, the RV Mobile Internet and Mobile Internet Info website. It's a massive theme update. We're reorganizing content, and it would be so much to try to be managing that from this event without our stuff. I mean, I would be traveling my laptop instead of my nice desktop. It would be stressful.
Oh yeah. So one of the important lessons for traveling and just in life in general is just recognizing that there is so much amazing stuff out in the world, in life, and so many opportunities that are in front of you that you have to give yourself permission to say no. You have to give yourself permission to miss out on some amazing, incredible things. This is something that really sunk home for me for the first time going to Burning Man year after year. And actually, I think it's one of the first lessons I learned at Burning Man is there's so many huge, giant, amazing, incredible, you would not believe this projects that you compare notes with people afterwards, and you're like, I can't believe I missed that.
Sounds like a different event than I went to.
But then you're like, well, it would be impossible to see them all. That's what you just have to like process. Is like you cannot see everything, you cannot do everything, and that's okay.
It's okay. And I think it's an important thing as a nomad, especially when you're planning your adventures, when you're in that phase of getting rid of all your stuff, figuring what to do with your house, buying your RV or your boat. And you're following all these people on social media who are sharing about the places they're going, their routing trips, sharing their year-end wrap-ups, and you're just dreaming about all these places you're going to go, and you're assembling all these notes. And
you hit the road. And
then you hit the road and you get out there, and you might get to a place, it's like, yeah, that was okay, but it wasn't like so-and-so said. It's not like that for me.
Yeah, and or you start, it becomes kind of like just a checklist. You're so focused on, like, these are the top 10 things I need to see. And, oh, I'm going to Arizona. What am I going to do in Arizona? I got to do this, and this. That you so focused on that checklist that you miss out on the serendipity and the things that come up moment to moment. And maybe you skip out on the top 5 things that you wanted to see, but you have your own incredible top 5 different direction that you
go. Be someone else's FOMO.
That's true. And when you start to think this way and start to not be afraid to miss out even on the big must-see things, just listen to serendipity, listen to the opportunities that are presenting themselves, listen to when the universe is talking to you saying, you're pushing yourself too hard, you're pushing in the wrong direction. Maybe there's something really cool that you're ignoring when you're pushing like that.
And we still fall into the trap. I mean, we really wanted to, in our hearts, to be there this year. We wanted to be in our RV, and we miss our RV. But I'm going to quit planning. I think we're going to try to quit making too many plans. We announce them, and then you still stuck with them. And
you feel pressure to live up to your own announced plans, and that's, again, something else that we learned this a little bit early on in our RVing of trying not to commit to too many personal schedule things, just because that's the recipe for running off the road, literally. But it's hard. You're like, you want to make plans, you want to do this, you want to do that, but it's perfectly fine to make plans, but then don't be afraid to say no, and don't be afraid to change them, and to turn left instead of right when you come to that intersection.
And just trust that you will have your own amazing adventure if you just allow it to happen, and that you can't prescript too much. And I also want to send out a reminder to those that are in the planning stage is don't forget to also find joy in your current everyday life. don't get so focused on the planning and the preparations.
Or the escaping from where you're at. You know, despite we love the name escapees, escaping bad places, it means you're never really paying attention to the good of the place you're at. So.
Remember, there is joy in the life that you have now, hopefully. You chose it for a reason. You're there for a reason. And soon everything is going to change for you. So don't forget to spend those last precious moments with friends and family while you're still local to them. Well, they can still relate to your life because everything will change once you hit the road.
Yep. And change is great.
So that's what we have to say tonight. Not, you know, big helpful stuff. Hopefully,
we didn't have slides prepared or anything fancy, but you know, we just wanted to share this feeling. It's like we are missing out, but joyfully missing out right now, being at the Escapers Annual Bash, and
I'm also joyful I'm no longer sick. Oh my gosh,
that is the biggest.
And then he got sick. Oh, it wasn't like
2 weeks.
Really bad sick.
It's the worst kind of sick. It's like that.
It's like I'm not feeling that bad, but it's just draining me every single day, and it just wore us down so much. Like last week, you know, you probably might have seen on some of our social media outlets. It just got the worst of me between the contractors the midges, the sickness, and then, you know, the trepidation around making this decision to not go to Escapers.
It just all
came down to my heart.
It is hard to do that, but it is. But see, once we kind of let ourselves have this change in plan happen, all this good stuff just started to line up. Like the RV geeks were literally like right there to give an awesome presentation that just like lined up for everybody. They were able to take our tickets and our spot and all this stuff, and you know. Things just shifted in so many different ways.
We had our Escapers tickets because we bought our tickets. We didn't. We were offered comp tickets for presenting, but we didn't want to commit to having to present. So we paid for our tickets, and we put them up on our virtual crew. We have a virtual crew community that replaced our old Patreon community, and we just said, "Hey, anyone there?" And sure enough, someone who was there with that very first annual bash, who was the performer there, Spontaneous, was looking for tickets and were able to do it.
They hadn't planned in advance enough. And found themselves in that area, and they're like, "Oh my God, there's this great event going on right here, and we can't go to it because we didn't have tickets." And now they get to have tickets, and they were part of the first bash.
So it was perfect. It was perfect. Our tickets got to go to someone that was meant to be there. So it all worked out fantastically. All right, we are going to
have some wine.
Yes, and we're going to switch to the Q&A portion. We will be happy to hang out for a little bit, take your questions about anything nomadic, RVing, boating, cats, whatever. We also have we've enabled Super Chat. Our channel finally qualified for it, so we're going to play around with that this evening. Basically what Super Chat does is if you feel like making a contribution to say thanks for the content that we provide and the questions you might be asking, is you can pay as you wish through this channel, and your comment or question gets highlighted, so we actually have a chance of seeing it in the chat room. It is not required. We're going to do our best. We're going to do our best to keep up with all the questions that we can. But if you haven't been following along lately, we recently also ditched our Patreon community. It was just feeling too much like work, and we prefer having our community more based around active folks in our community, not just those that are paying us monthly. So we have switched to that. Joe already had a glass of wine, thanks to Mark and Julie.
Okay, where'd the cork pop go, speaking of wine?
It should be there.
Let's go. I'll use the traditional look.
Okay.
Okay.
It should be there. Huh. I think it fell behind one of the other specialty bottles of wine that we got gifted over the holidays.
Oh, goodness. Oh, there it is.
Yes. We have been very blessed this season by lots of gifts of wine. But if you don't feel like using Super Chat, we always do have a leave a tip button on every page of Technomadia. We always appreciate, we don't expect, but we always appreciate it. It does keep us inspired to come back and keep creating content, as do your comments. We don't do this just to speak to the void. But if you do have questions, feel free to ask them in the chat room. Christine would like to know, are we going to the Our Village rally?
We just talked about not planning.
So we are making no plans and intentions at this point. If we are still in Central Florida, or in the Florida area, it is pretty accessible for us to go to. We may try to do.
Want to, but yeah, we will see. Cheers. Oh my gosh, we actually got a super chat.
Thank you,
Wow,
Ann.
cool.
The Orange Boys say hi to Kiki.
That is... Okay, that means Kiki has to show
Yeah,
up.
I think that means Kiki has to make an appearance. If Kiki got a tip, I think Kiki gets an appearance.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool. This is an experiment, so it's actually kind of cool to see how it works and what it looks like. So thank you. Kiki, you've been summoned. Ugh.
All right, so the cat gets up for a tip. There you go. Hi, Kiki.
She's been so good dealing with contractors, working in her favorite nap spot. It was unavailable for several days, and now it is back.
We have had contractors on board the boat for the last 10 days. We had the turbos in both our engines. Still a little lingering cough from that sickness. We had both the turbos rebuilt. So the mechanics were on board every single day last week, getting them reinstalled.
And that meant I was there. I did all the work in the engine room because they were not quite able to. And so that was a little... I learned a lot, but I spent a lot of time under an engine.
Yes, we just had all the duct work redone in the bus for all our air conditioning, it was so badly done before. So we should have much more efficient heating and cooling on the bus or the boat now. But these are people on board in your home. It means you can't leave your home because you're always waiting for them to show up.
Yeah, and they're always like, okay, I'll probably be there sometime between 8:30 and 9:30, which means I have to be up and dressed by 8 just in case they show up. But they probably aren't going to be here till 10:30, which means because our normal morning is we don't get dressed first thing in the morning.
We work.
So,
we wake up. We work. But I like to work from bed in my jammies or less than my jammies. All right. Oh, we got a second tip from Doug for midge repellent.
Add a few hundred zeros to that.
Oh, gosh.
No, the midges we had 2 days ago. We had one of the worst attacks ever. And yeah, the midges. I don't know what's going on with Florida this winter.
Yes, the if you saw we had a live stream during Christmas week. And we had a huge swarm of them, and we've had 2 more swarms since then. So
that were also huge.
They're just freaking annoying. All right, so we have some questions coming in. So yeah, I see Joe already addressed things about mobile internet. That is our work life. If you have questions about mobile internet, please go over to our Internet for RVers and Cruisers Facebook group. That's where we address questions for free during the day. So, and of course, our members have access to our Q&A webinars. Nancy says, I put a cardboard on the floor of the van behind and throw a carpet. Is this best to keep feet warm from the cold? The best way to keep your feet warm from the cold is go south.
Yes. Keep turning the steering wheel to the compass has an S on it, and then just drive straight until it feels warmer. And that is actually a really and just keep adjusting that S.
Yes, we're typically not winter people.
While RVing, we've done winter in Kansas. I mean, it was like 0 degrees, so we have done winters, but we try to avoid them because our house has wheels.
Let's see. Techno RV says, "Hello, Eric and Tammy. It's good to see you. You guys are over at the Tampa RV show. Maybe we'll see you later this week."
Yeah, we're thinking of going to the Tampa RV show.
I think that's where they are, because they just built their office, and I think we're coming down. Okay. They're slowing down and fewer concrete plans. Sounds refreshing. We had the discussion lately, so thanks for the reminder. I think we all need to hold each other accountable for this. Let's see. The Paces says, what vaccines and papers do y'all keep for Kiki? So we keep her enrolled with Banfield, which is the vets that are in PetSmarts. And that's where we keep up with all of her vaccines so that she has centralized medical records across the country. Oh, thank you, Catherine, for the midge recovery program and having some wine. Thank you, Catherine. We super appreciate it. So, of course, we keep up with rabies and feline leukemia and I don't know off the top of my head.
Banfield makes it pretty easy. They just there's universal health care for cats, which is great.
Yeah, we just pay a flat annual fee that includes her examinations, her blood work, and her vaccinations, and gets us free doctor's vet visits.
Yes, and I keep trying to sign Cherie up and say, "This is my monkey. Can we sign up? And can I sign up?" And apparently they do not do primates.
And we just keep a copy of her vaccinations and all her records.
In a little Go folder.
And they give you access to your online records as well so that you can get those where you need them. But that's what we found works really well for us. Kiki currently does not have any chronic conditions, so
except hunger.
Except for hunger. So, but we do know that of people that have animals that have ongoing treatment and things like that, and many of them prefer having a more private vet than Banfield for that sort of thing. Moving forward adventures. Hey Sabrina and Kenny, it's good to see you.
Hey guys.
Will this be your first full winter on the boat? And yes.
I guess kind of technically, because we left last year. We left in January. We were only gone like 6 weeks, right?
Yeah, we got back
it was a quick
early
trip.
March. But yeah, so we were not aboard the boat for most of winter. And then the year before, we didn't buy the boat until March. So that's one reason why we decided to stay aboard this year, is because the general plan is still we're going to be working our way north up the ICW as we embark on the Great Loop. And we will get to places where it's cold and we'll need to store.
We kind of like the idea that having Christmas on the boat. And this might be our only time we get to have Christmas on the boat, because the boat next Christmas will potentially be someplace much colder.
So, yeah, that was kind of one of the reasons we decided, hey, we're in a great location. It's going to be warm for the winter. Why are we forcing ourselves
to do an RV trip?
And the intention is winters we'll have the boat in storage where it's actually cold, and we will be spending our winters on the RV. That is still the intention.
We just we're in no rush.
Just the whole timeline is just expanding out, and we're taking a much slower pace of life in general, which is really good.
Slower.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Best advice for buying a boat like yours?
Definitely. Research the type of boat that you want. We started doing our research before we started diving in. We joined boating groups and followed boating vlogs and things like that.
Get on as many boats as you can, even if they're not for sale. Go to boating events where you can get invited aboard, because every boat, even one that's completely different than what you think you're looking for, might give you an idea. And watch boat videos on YouTube, particularly. We got kind of hooked. Our broker Curtis Stokes, his channel has a whole lot of just boat tours, and they do very, very thorough tours with not a lot of editorializing, showing off the interiors of boats. And we just watch, like we binge watch hours of boat tours every evening, just getting ideas of, oh, we like that style, we don't like that style, we like this, we like that. We weren't necessarily even focusing on things in our price range, just to get ideas at first. And that's definitely one great way to start studying.
And we are coming up on our 2-year boat anniversary, and we are intending to do a video. We did an initial tour about why we selected the Bayliner 4788. We're going to do a video focusing on the things that we would change after 2 years. Things that we could change that we haven't already changed, that aren't changeable.
We have changed quite a bit already, which is part of the fun of having a boat or an RV, is making it your own and customizing it.
John would like to know, do we explore Central Florida by land? Yeah. And yes, absolutely. We've done a lot of exploration in our RVing years. And I lived in Central Florida before we hit the road for 12 years. So Central Florida is very near and dear to my heart. And
then now we're here in Sanford. We've been exploring Sanford a lot, and most of that we can do by feet, which we love. We love exploring places that are pedestrian friendly and foot explorable. But also we have our Mini Cooper here, so we have been doing some outings and stuff, and have done some fun things on weekends and other things.
We went down to Disney and did Epcot Center with some friends, and we did the RV Love meetup. We've been down to Melbourne to visit my mom. Hi, Mom, if you're watching. And she comes out and visits here too, and so
we went to the zoo this past weekend, the Central Florida Zoo.
Yep,
good little zoo.
Doug would like to know, are the midges gone? Unfortunately,
there's one.
we're not having a swarm tonight. It is a little chillier, and the winds aren't blowing this direction, so we're a little bit obscured from them. But apparently, they're not supposed to be out this time of year. But because the lake levels are lower, and the larvae are in the mud underneath the lake, and then they rise to the top and they hatch when they come out to be their adult form, and then they mate for a couple days and they die, leave stains on your boat, and stink everything up, and then the birds eat them, and then the birds poop them out on your boat, so it's a recycling thing. So apparently, because the lake levels are so low and the counties haven't been treating the lake for the midges this year, that they're an unseasonably huge.
I mean, everybody on the dock says they've never seen it like this time of year, and it's just what it is. You know, it is a dock bonding experience, because every morning everybody is out washing their boats. It's been an interesting experience. We have a boat washer who comes about once a week and washes the boat for us. And then we do it the other 5 days or 6 days.
We're washing it too.
Yes.
Everyone here on the dock pretty much has a boat washer. You just have to. Thankfully, he's not that expensive. I think we only pay $40 or $50 a wash, so it's not that bad, but it does add up.
Yes, it is. It definitely does. It is one of the hardest things about being here is the midge issues, but
it is. But still, the positives of being here are outweighing it. But and up until now, for the last 3 weeks, we didn't have engines at work, so we didn't even have the option to leave.
Right.
Now we have the option to leave.
So we're looking forward to getting some anchoring out and taking. We got to test our new turbos. So make sure our engine actually works. But.
Yes. All right. Let's see. We're staying on the boat until when? Until we're not. Yeah. Basically, we're not committing ourselves to plans right now. So we've got a lot of ideas, but not quite sure. John James just left a $5 super chat. Loves our videos and blogs. Thank you for that.
Jumped from there to there. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Here we are.
Chuggalugs, I thought your house was a yacht that floats, and that is
that's
exactly that's
what
we're on right now. We're on our boat right now. Todd Miller, can I ask how much the generator swap costs? I don't remember off the top of my head, but we did share that in our post and video about it.
Yeah, so if you saw the video, we might not have totaled it up, but if you go back and find the blog post about it, we have a lot more detail. And good. Techno RV guys will be at the show, so we'll see you guys, hopefully.
Awesome.
We're thinking maybe Thursday, maybe. We'll see.
Yep. Christine would like to know what is best winter in Florida, Arizona, now that we've done both. We've done both many times, and they are both awesome for different reasons.
Yeah,
I mean, Florida, for us, we have family here.
Right, and I love the climate in Arizona in the winter. Usually, you've got this kind of just no humidity, really temperate weather. No bugs. It's often really blue, pretty skies and stuff, but not every year is different. So apparently it's being a really wet and cold winter in the Southwest this year. So it's not always the same. Yeah,
and you can't really predict what they're going to be like weather-wise. We love the Florida state parks. We love moving between them, but they're difficult to navigate with reservations or doing last-minute cancellations. Florida has less boondocking opportunities.
Yep.
So it's a lot harder to find some place to be that you want to be, but there's a lot of amazing Florida to explore. And then the Southwest, you've got like all the ample free boondocking and lots of options where you don't need to have reservations and planning, which we love. And we love, the juxtaposition of water on, in Florida versus the desertness of the desert.
And I love just the terrain out in the Southwest. It's so three-dimensional and beautiful, but then you've got the green and lush out on the east. So I like it both.
Yep. Expedition Overlanding says they're stopping by the Tampa show as well and may be able to gift you to a beverage. That'd be awesome.
Nice.
Guy would like to know, do you guys dry dock your boat over the summer while you RV it? So far, we have not had that opportunity. We have so far been boating over our summers, and that is the intention going forward. But there is some possibility that this year we would store the boat somewhere safe for the summer during hurricane season if we don't get as far north as we would like, and we might RV this summer. But again,
we're trying not to plan too hard.
That is one of like 20 possibilities for the year ahead.
Yes. Thank you, John.
Thank you so much, John, for the $5
Oh, the
contribution.
super chat's kind of cool.
It is. It is. And actually, it's nice to have that instant thank you. So it really does help us feel appreciated for doing these shows.
What are we getting out here? Yes. Oh.
Okay, I'm trying to find where the questions are. That's one thing that Super Chat helps with, is it does make your comments show up, and I can find them a lot easier. Teresa says RVs are expensive. How do I make my mind up, towable or motorhome?
And 20-year loans are a long time to commit.
There are so many considerations between towable or motorhome. So much just depends upon your travel style.
And one thing, particularly before going into debt for an RV, is find an old beater of either Class A or a trailer of similar to what you're thinking about, that you can pay cash for and that you can afford to walk away from, and use that for a year just as a learning experience. And coming out of that year, you'll have a much better idea what you want to invest in.
Yeah, there's so many considerations. We've done both. They both have advantages. They both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Joe, thank you for all the moderating. I cannot tell you how much it helps us to know that you're taking care of things for us.
Yes, because before we had a moderator, we'd do one of these and we'd be like, what the hell's going on in the chat room? Oh my God.
Jim would like to know, are we streaming on cellular right now? They're getting excellent quality on the big TV. And yes. What are we at? We're on the Verizon?
No, we're broadcasting on AT&T.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're broadcasting on AT&T via a PepWave Max right now. And yeah, AT&T's got great uploads.
Yes, and that's one advantage right now of being in Sanford. It's pretty urban. We're getting great speeds in general on all of our cellular connectivity here. So it's been great for doing work and doing video stuff. So.
But it also has been a really good chance to experience one of our most important lessons, is have diversity, because we've been out when this town gets full, AT&T just drops. Whenever there's a street festival, I cannot use AT&T at all. I have to have Cherie share a Verizon hotspot to me. So having that backup plan is so useful, and we need it all the time.
Yes, Valerie said she was just at the Tiki Bar in Cedar Key, Florida, which is somewhere where we did used to winter over 2 winters in a row, 2013 and 14. Yeah, we were there. Our village was actually launched from Cedar Key in 2014.
At Sunset Isle. And yes, if any of you RVers have not been to Cedar Key, it is one of the magical spots to visit in Florida. It's one of our favorite spots.
And excuse me if I pronounce your name wrong, Jackie, I think. Would you ever consider cruising here in the Pacific Northwest?
I hear it's amazing cruising. Our boat can't get there from here
easily,
affordably.
Yes, but our next adventure had with boating, and I honestly, if it takes us 10 years to do the loop, it takes us 10 years to do the loop.
But maybe in some future boat someday, or visiting somebody else's boat, or because it's apparent it's magical cruising up there. I've got friends up there, but it's not on our radar.
It's nothing against it. It's just, it comes back to that whole JOMO thing, the topic of our video earlier today.
We can't do it all.
We can't do it all. And you have to pick and commit to something at some point.
And then change your mind and change your plans. And what else we got?
Start the Rebellion says projected time frame to complete the loop. That's our best guess is anywhere between this year and 10 years.
Or not at all.
Or not at all. We who knows? I mean, if we just decide we like cruising up and down the ICW and maybe go over to the Bahamas, that's okay.
Yeah, it's our plan right now. Do the whole loop, and I like the idea, but you never know when you might see a left turn and decide that it's better than the right turn you'd planned.
And completing a particular route just to earn the right to buy a burgee from a corporate entity is not a motivating goal of mine.
Yeah,
surprisingly.
No, it's great, cool. It's always nice to see the Great Loop burgees and stuff out there, because we know there are people who have been on similar adventures and have some like minds and stuff. But it's earning a burgee is not the goal. It is the adventure is the goal.
See what you are. Nissen says best advice for a first timer. what would you do different when buying a boat? I don't know that I would do anything different.
Do different buying a boat. We did pretty good with our boat hunting process, actually. So if you go back to see some of our old videos and blog posts about the process we went through to find our boat and buy it, I'm not sure I'd change much at all about how it came together for us. So
no, I have no regrets. Everything worked out, I think, as it was meant to, and we've done the best we can with maintaining and taking care of her and dealing with, you know, everything is true. Boat does not mean break out another 1,000. It means break out another 10,000. So
boats are expensive. You need to balance your amount of money, time, and skill. And you know, if you have infinite amount of any one of those, you can make do with a lot less of the others. But boats require more skill than an RV. They require more money than an RV, and more time than an RV. But they also have a lot of other cool rewards too. So we're having fun with it.
Moving Forward Adventures just sent us a $5 tip to the Beer and Wine Fund.
Thank you
Kenny and Sabrina. We very much appreciate that. Toasting you.
Uh-oh. I'll have to add.
Valerie would like to know, are we in Sanford, Florida? And yes, indeed, we are still here and probably will be here for another month.
Yeah, Sanford and Cedar Key are kind of some of our favorite spots in Florida right there.
Sanford is really amazing. Really looking forward to sharing more about that with you guys.
If you have not experienced Sanford, particularly in the last several years, because apparently the town has changed a lot, come to Sanford. It is really a special town. Yep.
Ken would like to know, are we attending the AGLCA rendezvous next week? And you know, I didn't even know what was going on really.
Yes, we did not. So no, that wasn't on our radar. We were having we're missing out on the annual bash. We weren't even thinking about the AGLCA right now.
Let's see. Moving Forward Adventures would like to know, are we planning on attending the RVE Summit this year? And again, avoiding commitments. And no, we are not signed up to go to the RVE. There is just way...
where that is, like, I could see things converging that we end up at our village meetup, at the Our Village rally, just because that's in Florida and we're likely to be in Florida. The RVE one,
it's just too far away.
It's too far away, and our bus is in Austin, so it's not like we'd be able to get our bus and go there and stuff. So I don't think this is a year we're going to do RVE.
No, it's just not. But an incredible organization.
Yeah, and great event, as you guys know.
Yes. Mel said he heard it's $50K to move your boat overland or piggyback between the coast, and that's prohibitively expensive. And I think if we did do West Coast cruising, we would just sell this boat and buy another. When we get out there, you know, we're very much believers in buy the right vessel for what you're planning to do.
Exactly.
You guys are more concerned about finding a Snorlax and a flag. You bet your you bet your bedulum it is. I haven't seen a Snorlax in the wild in quite a while.
Yes. So yeah, we kind of got that being sick kind of really derailed our poke hunting, but we're got to get back into that as well.
Yes. Someone wants to know, did you cut your ponytail?
Oh, gosh,
no, it's still there. Jim would like to know.
Thank you, Bob. I saw something pop up.
Yes, I think there might be a question there waiting for us.
Oh, cool.
Do we follow any vloggers like SV Delos and Gone with the Winds or Rand Sailing? And we definitely do follow SV Delos and Gone with the Winds. We love the Delos people. We love that feeling of a family.
Delos is, I think, kind of my personal gold standard of. I think they're the one.
People who we haven't met that we follow regularly.
Yes, and they're the one people that kind of, just light up my imagination. It's like, wow, they're inspiring and cool, and like I'd be fanboyish if I met them. Like
yes, the Winds we follow because they are dear friends of ours. Yes. We actually correspond a lot with Nikki and Jason.
Yep. We had a phone call with them not too long ago.
Yes, we were RVers together, and we both shared our dreams back then about boating, and you know, we're both now pursuing our own versions of that. So we love keeping up with the Winds just because it's like having them in our living room again. We don't, as far as other boating vloggers, we don't follow many. We don't watch, honestly, a lot of video.
Yeah, we sometimes we'll just get in a binging mode and we'll kind of jump around and see what these people are up to and what these people are up to and like watch a couple episodes.
The one that we've been really impressed with is there's this, I even forget what his name is, but he's a merchant mariner on cargo ships. He does amazing footage and coverage of being on these big cargo ships going across the oceans.
Oh God, what is his name?
Oh, I forget what it is. But they're amazing.
So we'll just start hopping around and like again, that's like a whole different perspective of like being on big ships and sharing the lifestyle of that and stuff. So I don't know. We just kind of go and we watch a lot of YouTube, but the only channels we really religiously follow are the Winds and Delos.
Mm-hmm. And we do check in on finding seashells.
Yeah,
they're fellow motor yachters. Mm-hmm. I think they're on a trawler technically.
Yeah, and we watch some occasionally La Vagabond. There's a bunch of our old RVing friends that we love to pop in on their channels and watch for a while and catch up on them. Like
of course, the RV Geeks.
Yeah, the RV Geeks and Driving and Vibin'. We love them. We got to see their live performance concert live stream the other day, which was really kind of magical and stuff. So there's a lot of people that we pop in on and just love.
All right, so Bob and Dennis sent us $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much, guys. He says we enjoyed watching the process of your boat search and purchase. We just can't believe it's coming on 2 years already. Happy boat anniversary! Thank you, guys.
It goes so fast.
And your departure date's coming up pretty soon, isn't it, guys? Pretty sure you hitting the road on the RV. And Joe says, "Yeah, and FYI, they really do the Pokemon thing." Yes, yeah. We've hung out with Joe on multiple occasions, and
he's watched us.
He's watched us
play little skee ball on our fingers.
He's rolled his eyes at us on multiple occasions. It's okay. We roll our eyes at him, stopping at every coffee shop.
And,
yeah, we all have our own things. Ben and Rebecca from His and Her Alaska would know all about West Coast boats, and indeed, when we were traveling through Alaska, we went across by train and boat. We did cruise ships, and then train up in Alaska, and we actually stayed with them in Seward. And for 4th of July, they took us out on one of their boats to watch the fireworks at midnight. It was still light out. It was fun.
Yes, it was such a blast. We love those guys, and we actually pop in and watch their channel on occasion just to see what they're up to.
See what you're missing. Wants to know, do we get sick of each other?
She gets sick of me.
He for some crazy reason still thinks I'm cool and puts up with me, even though I get sick of him every so often.
Yeah, she'll have a little tantrum. And
we have different tolerances, but we've been together now 12 years, and all of it living in small spaces. And we started in a 16-foot travel trailer, then a 17-foot one, then the bus. Lived in the Virgin Islands in a little cottage for a while, and now the boat. And
very rarely do we need to escape from each other. It really, I mean, you took a little break to get away from project chaos, not so much get away from me.
He has a much higher tolerance for projects. I have a very low tolerance for them going on, and I think that's probably one of our biggest disagreements. Is he's more willing to take on more project chaos than I am, and I hit my threshold a lot sooner than he does.
So I guess it was last Thursday, where Cherie went home, or was it Friday? I don't know, whatever, Thursday, and there was a period of time because we had the engine mechanics still weren't finished on the boat, and so our living room was completely torn open, and there was no place to sit in the living room, and the air conditioning guy had torn apart our bedroom and the pilot house. And everything was just kind of piled up in the guest bedroom. So the only place to sit down and the only place I was able to curl up and sleep was like one tiny little corner of the bed in the guest bedroom. And so it was very high chaos. And yeah, I definitely have a lot more tolerance for that.
In me, it's like, okay, I was already sick. I was dealing with this for 4 or 5 days. Yes. It's like, no. And we had an opportunity to meet up with some friends who were cruising through Melbourne on their boat, Sean and Louise of Our Odyssey.
Go read their blog if you like.
Oh, amazing
boating
blogger.
Stuff, yeah.
They were also former full-time RVers in a bus conversion, and then they got a trawler. So if we're copying anyone, it's Sean and Louise. They're some of our biggest inspirations, some of our dearest friends.
And they were like one of the only blogs I found back 13 years ago before I hit the road. I was looking around, and there was Tioga and George, and there was Our Odyssey, and that was basically it way back then. And so they're like one of the few people I saw before I hit the road.
So we went over to the coast. Had dinner with Sean and Louise while they were anchored out there. And then I stayed with my mom for a few days and got away from the chaos. Took Kiki with me so that she could get out of it too. And then Chris came back and handled it. So it was good. I needed the break. Needed some mom time.
Yep. Just 2 days apart, and
it's only an hour and 20 minutes down there from my mom's place. It is an easy drive. So, Willow Wolf would like to know, which lifestyle do we like more, RV living or boat life? And we love them both.
Yeah.
We've done RVing for 10 years, 10, 12 years.
Yeah, so RVing was, not as challenging anymore, and that was kind of a main reason to go to boating. But a lot more new experiences in boating. But we love both. And, there are whole other new avenues of RVing we haven't done yet either, like RVing through Europe or something, which we might do someday, or... who knows? There's infinite amounts of different ways to adventure and explore.
Yes, so we love them both. It just right now, boating is the new lifestyle, so there's a lot more novel things, and it's the one that is calling us right now. But RVing is still near and dear to our heart, and always will be. R&R says we could easily coastal cruise a Bayliner through the canal and up. I wouldn't say easily. This isn't an open water boat, so you really have to watch your weather windows. And there's only about a 500-mile fuel range on it, so fuel would be a consideration.
Yeah, and actually going up the west coast is a pretty brutal cruise. Up in the northwest is cruising paradise, but getting from Mexico to Seattle is a very, very challenging trip. I think very few boats like ours have done that, because this isn't a boat that can do that comfortably.
Yeah, it's not a passage maker. It's not a blue water boat.
It could be done, but it's not. Most people who would take a boat like this there would put this boat on a shipping boat and ship the boat, and and or on a truck.
If we ever were called to going more than like the Bahamas,
we'd look for a cruise.
We would look for that for a boat made for that.
Right.
We wouldn't try to push the limits of this one. And honestly, it's not something that's on my list of things I want to do. So.
Yeah. Well, I would love to cruise up in the Northwest, but it's not. I don't want to do it in this boat. It's not the right boat.
And big open water passages aren't. I don't know. I find little appeal in it. I really like. The type of cruising that we're doing. I love having a land view when I'm on the water, and when I'm RVing, I love having a water view. There's something about that intersection of water and land that is what calls me. So.
Okay. Link for Curtis Stokes. If you search for Curtis Stokes, it'll be easy to find. He's all over the place. He'll sponsor any event, it seems. So every boating event, you'll see Curtis Stokes' logo on it.
Let him know Technomadia sent you. We actually did a video interview with him on the channel. That would have been published, I think, back in April. So look on the channel. You can actually meet him. We interviewed him about buyers, brokers. And he's just a really chill, informative guy who is in this business for what I consider the right reasons. He's more concerned about you having an enjoyable lifestyle than he is selling you a boat. He'll actually talk you out of selling buying a boat if it's not right for you.
He was a great low-pressure broker, which we really enjoyed.
Yes.
And he didn't mind what level of budget we were shopping at and stuff. We're impressed. We were impressed by dealing with his company.
Teresa says, do people drive around or boat around and hope they have connectivity when they get to their destination, as there's no guarantee on any place, especially out in the desert?
We've got a whole guide, because you can do a lot of pre-research. And
so go to rvmobileinternet.com/travel planning. We have a whole guide to pre-researching out connectivity in your travels. But again, this channel is our personal channel. Mobile internet is our work life. And,
so come talk to us about that during business hours.
Internet for RVers Facebook group is where we field questions for free during the day. Our staff does, and Joe is part of our staff there as well. Basically, Joe was so awesome in our personal moderation that we hired him to help us out in our work life too. So, and he's even finding links for us.
Okay. And New Nomadic says hi from the RTR. That's the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, which is another awesome event. I wonder how big it is this year, because last year we heard it was huge off the charts.
Yeah, New Nomadic. How big is the RTR this year?
And that's a fabulous event for anybody who is interested in that aspect of RVing. It's
Yep,
quite
that's
cool.
hosted by the cheaprvliving.com by Bob Wells, longtime RVer, and focuses more on the cheap RV living aspects. We have never been accused of being cheap RVers, although
we have. At times we've been very, very, that because we consider kind of like what are the things, the skills, the experiences we can have. We've done RVing on extreme budgets and know that we can do it, and we've done RVing not on extreme budgets. So, yeah, it was like some of our first years on the road, we
were pretty minimalist even by
pretty minimalist, yeah. So yeah, we've never actually camped at the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, but we've hung out there with people, and we've actually presented there one year, and some cool stuff there. A lot of cool people.
Iggy would like to know, do we plan to visit the Maritimes? And we did a little bit. We did a commercial cruise on Holland America from Fort Lauderdale to Montreal a couple years back. It was an amazing cruise with a few stops up in the Maritimes, and loved it. And I would love to get up there. I think it's probably beyond our boating ability.
By the time we get there, it might not be.
Maybe not be.
Yeah. So we will see what happens once we get that far north. Because at the pace we're going, we'll be like salty seasoned sailors or cruisers by the time we're up that far north. But that's a very much off the beaten path for more recreational cruisers.
And if we had continuing to RV on the west, I would love to. I mean, again, there's that whole thing. Can't do it all. It's definitely someplace I'd love to go. There's so many adventures I want to do, but there's only so much in our lifetime that we have, and
can't do it all.
5,000 at the RTR this year. Oh my gosh!
Actually, it was bigger last year. I thought it was 7,000 last year.
I don't know. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Crazy huge. It's just.
It's so big that so many people have left.
Estimated 8K from New Nomadic. The site from last year was full, plus the new permit area is full. There's a stage this year.
Wow.
That is just crazy.
Maybe 10K. Wow. So. Hi, RTR. That is awesome just to see this, like what had been just basically little ideas kind of percolating, turning into a lifestyle movement is really kind of cool. It's overwhelming, but
it's overwhelming to know that, when we started out in 2006, it took us 2 years to find someone in our age group that was full-time RVing.
Right. It was. And now it's everywhere, which is kind of cool. It's also kind of takes away a little bit of that feeling of being unique. Odd and a pioneer.
It seems RVing is a bit mainstream.
Yeah, a bit. It's but if you go back to the mainstream, people are like, oh my god, you're in an RV. So it is still out there. It has definitely changed, and connectivity has made it so much easier because you're not giving up as much as people used to, because you could still be connected to friends and family and work, and not necessarily be tied to one location. And people aren't so shocked at the idea of remote workers and stuff anymore.
Definitely, yes. Joe put it right. RVing is popular, and it has definitely reached a some sort of singularity point with it. And there's just so many resources now available that make it a lot easier. I mean, it's like when we started out, there's like 1 or 2 blogs that we could even find, and we didn't really follow blogs or resources. There weren't a lot of information out there for how to work from the road remotely. There was stuff on work camping. There was
there was little islands of things there. I mean, the escapees were there and were had been around since the 70s, doing a wonderful job doing their thing. And Work Camper News was there. There's a little bit of resources and stuff, but they were all kind of focused on the pre-online world, and then it just went through this revolution, and it just opened the doors to so many more people once you add connectivity to the mix, and once more and more people start realizing they could do this without waiting till retirement time, and it just rethinks everything.
And now there's people having online classes and several online schools you can take to learn about RVing.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You can find your style of presenter and content. There's books. There's a gazillion YouTube channels now and blogs, and it's almost an overwhelm of resources now. That like, where do you go? I mean, what do you focus on? And it's hard as a content creator too. now to create resources, knowing that there is already this oversaturation of content out there. It's like, okay, if you put 8, 10, 12 hours into creating a video or a blog post, is it even going to be seen?
Right.
And it's making it tougher. It really honestly is making it tougher to find the inspiration to create content anymore.
Yeah, figuring out social media is kind of tricky. It's just, how do you stay connected? How do you make this all balance out?
Start the Rebellion wants to know any news on the RVers, which is the TV show that we are now hosts of. And
we've been swapping emails with the producer earlier today.
We sent over, we did some test shots over the holidays. We had to use our boat as an example for it, and we actually did a sample interview. We had the the Geeks on Tour.
Yes, not the RV Geeks.
Chris and Jim over, and shot an impromptu interview with them, just kind of to get feedback from the producer on the style and filming and technique and things like that.
Yes, because like they've got a whole editing team, and so they want to make sure the editing team knows how it can work with the footage we're producing, and the audio is good and all this stuff. So we're kind of in that pre-production phase.
They're trying to decide the standards. Are they going to go 1080p or 4K?
And I think they're now leaning towards doing it in 4K. So they're like, okay, yeah, we told you to film in 1080. Now we want everything in 4K. So trying to suss out our equipment that we're using. We film all on iPhones, on our iPhone XS's. Whereas they're used to dealing with high-end video equipment. So, they chose us for that. We're upfront about that. It's like, we're not getting paid for this. So, I'm not going to go out and buy expensive camera gear and train myself on it just to produce, 5 minutes of content every so often. I saw some people commenting online about, one of the other hosts saying, oh, they're set for life now that they got this cushy gig, hosting. I'm like, this is a PBS show at $1 an episode. This is not a.
I don't think we even get the $1.
This is not a like, oh my gosh, we're going to make lots of bank on this. We're doing a lot of work just for the fun of it, and just because we like to share with people.
We consider it a legacy project. It's something very unique. It's an honor for us to have been asked to do this, and we're doing it just to help share what we've learned and help others find inspiration in the joys of RVing.
We love sharing. That's one of our favorite things.
We are now working with the producer to come up with about 3 topics for us to film initially. Because we don't have an RV right now accessible to us, we will be hoping that we can borrow people's RVs. So if you're in Central Florida and would like to see your RV potentially be on a TV show, let us know. If we can use yours as a background.
Otherwise, I guess we'll have to have like green screen special effects budget or something to have like RVs appear behind us. Who knows? It's still.
We'll be talking about technology, so we'll be talking about getting connectivity on the road. Right. Maybe we'll cover GPSs and tire pressure monitoring systems and that sort of stuff. But since it's not about us and it's not about any of the hosts, it's not following our story. It's not reality TV.
Right.
It's content. It's we're going to be talking about the importance of cellular boosters and antennas.
Tips and tricks and how to stay connected. And it will, theoretically, it should be on Amazon and iTunes and PBS probably. And so the producer created his prior show as The Aviators, and it got picked up all over the place. So odds are this will get picked up as well.
But the RVers has picked up several sponsors. None of this happens without some sponsorship. Yep. We don't get any proceeds of that. So they are getting some funding to put it together. It's going forward. And still aiming for the end of 2019 for the first episodes to appear.
It looks like Joe's pimping himself out as single, looking for single women. Yeah, Joe is great, and
we endorse Joe if anyone is interested with an awesome RVer, very self-sufficient, very giving, loves coffee and loves ice cream. So
yes. That's all he needs, really, and he'll help you with navigate your fast passes. And
he'll install your solar and your lithium, and extremely handy and an awesome guy. I totally endorse Joe, but don't take up too much of his time. We
kind of benefit from him having free time. So.
I think there might have been some other questions. I can't find them.
Okay.
All right.
So we've been on for
over an hour. I think it's time for us to say good night. Thank you for joining in and hanging out with us and talking about JOMO.
Yes, and meanwhile, to anyone who happens to catch this from the Escapers Annual Bash, we love you and miss you all, and are hoping you're having an awesome time out there.
And any other events that you might go to. And thanks for joining in. And I have no clue what the year holds for us. I don't know how much content we'll produce. It'll come as it comes.
Oh, and it looks like Joe has a match. There's Teresa single and loves ice cream too. You guys, let us know how this goes.
Coffee and ice cream.
Cool. That might be a reality show right there, and maybe we could film their first date. Yeah, this will be good. Joe jumps on the opportunity. Nice.
All right, guys. Have a great evening. Thanks. How do I shut this off?
Okay, I go over here and
that one. Okay.
Stop.